Hey y'all, so I'm in bed again. And you know, I was watching this video and it reminded me what I was thinking about earlier today. Now, I knew somebody, I call him Skeletor. He is wow, a chronic, just like every other narcissist, a chronic pathological liar. And a couple of people that I know who knew him don't believe a word that comes out of his mouth because they know that he's lied about so many things. So it gets to the point where people just think that everything you've ever said is a lie because you have a history of being a liar. So there were a couple of things that were so nonsensical to lie about. And when you look at how everything went down, it could not be more clear that it was all a lie. So, for example, okay, let me think. There were so many things. Okay, so this individual runs around and shows people um, individuals who basically were suspended in the air. Um, they're attached to safety ropes and whatnot, but they're suspended in the air, sleeping in hammocks above this gorge, in between the mountains and whatnot. And he's running around showing everybody these pictures of people in their I guess they're like tents, but they're suspended in the air. And he claims that he's the one who was taking the picture. Now, how ironic that he's not in the picture. How ironic, okay? So, I realized in retrospect, that son of a bitch ain't never been suspended in the air doing jack shit, okay? That was all a lie. You have to also understand too that narcissists have no proof of anything that they say. There's no proof. I saved this person from a building. Oh really? That's cool. You got the newspaper article? I'd love to read it. No, they don't have any evidence, just what they said. Okay. Um So then, if you keep that in mind, put that in the back of your mind that he's running around like a freaking imbecile, showing people these people that are suspended in the air, and he's one of them, and you just can't see him because he's the one taking a picture, which is a load of fucking bullshit. So then we talked about repelling that he supposedly has done before, and I was considering doing it, not on a massive scale, because like I'm not a repeller, right? But I was willing to give it a shot because, hey, I've never done that before. And then when I agreed to do it, because he'd been bugging me about it, and then when I agreed to do it, he said, "Oh, I can't do it because we're not gonna be able to do it because I kept the ropes in the garage, and you can't keep them in a high temperature because it degrades the ropes." Okay, how ironic and how convenient. How ironic and how convenient. Now, I'm gonna tell you where all of this is a lie. He probably ain't never repelled a day in his life, okay? He's trying to perpetrate this image and it's all fake. Because let me explain to you, people who climb mountains, people who are suspended in the air, hanging off a cliff, or whatever it is that they do, this is not something they do as a hobby for a few months or a few weeks, and then they kick it to the curb and they don't do it anymore. They do this as a life thing, a lifetime thing. They own all the special equipment. They get more and more equipment all the time so that it's easier for them. They don't have to borrow things from other people. They eventually it's an investment. It is a commitment. It is a lifetime thing. It is not a hobby that you do lackadaisically. And when it happens to pertain to the safety of yourself, and if you don't do it correctly, you'll die. You would never do something so stupid and so casual as to throw ropes in the garage and hope to God they're strong enough for next time. You would never do that. You would do it responsibly. You would take classes. You would learn as much as you could. You would research and research and research and watch documentaries and take classes. It's a commitment thing. You don't start doing it and then after a month, okay, I'm done with that bullshit. And you just throw the ropes or throw the equipment way over there. I mean, nobody does that. It's freaking stupid and asinine and it defies logic. Another thing that the individual lied about was he supposedly wrote a book about relationships and everybody thought the world of it, and he don't tell nobody the name of it and it's a secret. And he printed out, because that's what he does for a living. He prints papers, even though he supposedly has a degree in computer systems or whatever the fuck. It's all of that's a lie too. He probably had never been to college a day in his life. He's just a dud. So unless you've seen a college degree sent to him in the mail from his college, don't believe it. You have to see proof because you know this person's a liar. So anyway, showed me the book that he supposedly wrote, a quotation marks copy of the book, but hid the name, had his finger over the name of the person who wrote the book. Now, if that was the person who wrote the book, they would be more than happy to tell you that that's their book because they researched, they worked on it. It was a you know, I don't know what the term is, but it's their labor and their hard work and their blood, sweat, and tears. And when they finally completed it, that's a big deal. Ain't nobody with sense in their head gonna show you a book, cover the name on it, and pretend that's their book, and they supposedly wrote a book about relationships. How in the blue hell can you write a book about relationships when your dumbass can't even sustain a relationship for more than 5 minutes because you got a small attention span and you get bored easily? You have a small attention span. You're an adult toddler. All right? You're unstable in the head. So how the hell are you going to teach somebody about relationships? You don't know the first goddamn thing about a relationship. Anyway, so kept teasing about the book, and one day I'll let you read it, and maybe when we reach a certain point, and we'll read it and this and that. No, it's just a fucking lie. Anybody who wrote a book will tell you this is a copy of my book. You know, you could get it on Amazon. This is how much it costs. I'd love for you to read it. I'd love your input on it. They would tell you if they wrote the book under a different name, because some authors do that. They would tell you the name. I didn't use my real name. Um, my name is Mary, but I wrote under Victoria Sanders or whatever. I'm just pulling a name out of the air. My name. I don't know I can't remember what it's called when you write under a different name. But they would tell you what that name is, and they would tell you where you could get a copy of the book, or they would let you borrow a copy of the book, or whatever the case is. They're not going to hide the person's name and make it this big mystery, this black hole of mystery, this darkness of this so-called book. It's a freaking lie. If you didn't see the person graduate at the actual college, they didn't graduate. Okay. Or if somebody cannot verify it, somebody in their family, so their sister, their brother, if somebody else cannot verify that they actually graduated, doesn't have pictures of the graduation, there's no actual proof, they're probably lying to you. Okay. They have a history of lying. This individual that I knew is a different individual. Her brother was dying of cirrhosis of the liver, and supposedly her mother, who's wicked and evil, lived in the same town as her brother. Now, I'm going to tell you what really happened, and okay, no. Let's start off with the lie, and then I'll tell you what really happened. Her brother ended up dying, okay? But he was sick. So, he was terminal. So you expect him to die. That's what terminal is. She claims, because she's severely mentally ill. She has so many illnesses, it's not funny. But including narcissism and Munchausen, and she faked that she was dying of cancer when she didn't have cancer. I mean, all kinds. She's just mentally off. Normal people do not ever do that, okay? They just don't. But her brother died because he was sick. But hear her tell it. her mother and the mother's boyfriend strung him up in the garage. They beat him to death and then strung him up in the garage and made it look like a suicide. Their imagination can go so freaking far left that you would start to think that this could be a plot for a Hollywood movie. Okay? That is not what happened. He was dying of cirrhosis of the liver. After I got rid of her because she was just so backstabbing, and I got tired of it. It just tired of the merry-go-round. On certain parts of the merry-go-round, the person's in a good mood and you're getting along with them. Do not get happy with that because the merry-go-round is constantly moving and it will get back into the crazy page inevitably. So don't think that we back to normal now because you acting normal. No, that's temporary. Okay? That's all temporary. We going back to the crazy page. It's just a matter of time. So don't get too comfortable with the normal because that's fake normal. That ain't real. They're going to go back to acting wacky in no time. Now, this is a small town. After I got rid of her, I started looking for evidence that he was supposedly, quotation marks, hung and beaten viciously. She supposedly saw the results of the autopsy and everything else. Ironically, she had no paperwork to prove anything that came out of her lying mouth. She had no newspaper article. She had no autopsy photos, not that I needed to see them, but I've seen autopsies in real life. It wouldn't be a shock to me or anything, I wouldn't be grossed out or anything like that. I've held a guy's brain in my hands before, during an autopsy. So no, there's not a whole lot that's going to make me go, "Mm." You know what I'm saying? There was no proof, there was no reports, there was no coroner report, there was no article. And this is a small town where nothing happens, right? The most that would happen is a cat got stuck in a tree. So media would be all over that. There would be articles, multiple articles, all up and down the internet about this. There would be charges brought on the mother and the boyfriend. They would at least be brought in for questioning. No one was arrested. There's no article. This is a freaking small town. Believe you me, it would be all up and down the internet. It's a small town, and that's the most exciting thing that ever happened. Not exciting in a positive way, but you know what I'm saying. Like, people would be like, what the hell? They'd be all over it. There was absolutely no information, no police report, no coroner's report, absolutely zippo. You know why? Because it didn't happen. He was dying of cirrhosis of the liver. Okay. Their lies and their imagination knows absolutely no bounds. No bounds. Okay. I've also seen on YouTube mental illness. His name is Lee Hammock. He is a self aware narcissist. He's been in psychotherapy for 6 years. He's doing very well. He's learning how to get along with his wife, his children, his family, his extended family. He's learning how to have better relationships with people. He's not your typical narcissist, cheating on his wife, can't keep his pecker in his pants, bouncing up and down on every other person. He's not doing any of that. He's a family man. He's married. They've been through a lot together, but they're still working it out and they're still making it happen and all of that. He has shown videos of people who got caught by their spouse or their significant other for cheating, and they will scream and holler and get angry. You were looking through my phone. Why were you looking through my phone? I have no privacy. They will get hysterical. They will cry. They will uh, talk about as they're crying, I had such a horrible child abuse, and this is the reason I'm so lost, and I can't believe I hurt you as bad as I have, and blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. Or sometimes they go in the bathroom and pretend they're puking. I mean, because they're doing this whole charade because they got busted. Or they will say, that never happened. You're losing your freaking mind. I think that you're a narcissist, you know? Why would you just accuse me of being with somebody else? You don't have any, even if there's physical proof, they will still lie and say something is psychologically wrong with you, and how dare you look in my phone, and how dare you get evidence. That's not what happened, and you need to get out of my face. They will lie, 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 lie. They lie so easily, it's just like breathing to them. It's just like breathing. Their tongue is so slippery with lies that the lies slide right off like so you're going to get to a point where you're going to start looking for evidence, because what they're saying is so stupid and ridiculous. Sometimes they go way left, and you're like, okay, that just sounds outlandish. Right. Like the same one who said that her brother was hung in a garage and all this other, and there was never an article about it. There's just crickets. Right, because it never freaking happened. He had cirrhosis of the liver. He still was drinking alcohol, and it was going to kill him, and that's what it did. Okay, but her imagination went buck wild with that one. Nobody was arrested. Nobody was questioned, but they did this horrific thing to him. Yeah, right. Uh-huh. Sure. She also, a person has Munchausen when they pretend they have an illness that's terminal illness for attention. There ain't nothing wrong with her other than her significant mental illness. She, I mean, she kept that lie going for a couple of years. Not only said she had terminal cancer, but she said she had two types of terminal cancer at the same time. She had pancreatic, and I think she had stomach cancer, supposedly. Now, as you guys know, I worked in the medical field. Even if you never worked in the medical field, even if you don't know the first thing about symptomology if you have cancer, you're going to be confused as to how this person never has any symptoms whatsoever. Not one type of cancer that's terminal, but two. Never had any symptoms. Not one. Milked those lies for years. Years. Watched me get very upset about it. Watched me cry about it. Watched me, try to come to terms with the fact that, yes, we were doing fun things, but it was heartbreaking because one day this was going to come to an end because she was dying. That dumb bitch wasn't dying. She is mentally ill. Her tongue is slippery. The freaking lies just slide right off with no effort. So if you start to suspect that somebody you know is a chronic pathological liar, start looking for proof. When there's a family reunion or there's a holiday where everybody gets together and this person supposedly graduated college with a degree in blah, 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 mention it to somebody in their family. Mention it to their friends. Because if they supposedly did such a great milestone, graduated college, somebody close to them is going to know about it, unless that person lied to them also. Did you ever see a degree? Did you ever see them share their so-called expertise with you because they have a degree in such and such and such? I guarantee you never saw proof. They will even lie about stupid things that are irrelevant. Like Lee said, I don't know why I lied to my wife. I was driving and she called me and I answered the phone and she said, "What's going on with you?" And I said, this is what Lee said. He said, I told her I can't talk to you right now. The cops pulled me over. Did that happen? No. And to this day, he says, I have no idea why I lied about that. But because he's self-aware, he takes responsibility for the crap that he has done, the dirt that he has done. And he'll tell you, I really don't know why I did it. It was stupid. But narcissists who are not self-aware, they know what they're doing, but they're not going to take responsibility for it. That's what self-aware is. You take responsibility. Yes, I was mean. Yes, I was a liar. Yes, I was an asshole. I've destroyed every relationship I've ever had because of my terrible behavior. But I'm a better person now because I'm going to therapy, da 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 da. Okay, and that's how Lee is. He would tell you he's been clinically diagnosed. It's called mental illness. He's on every platform, TikTok, Instagram, obviously YouTube, and wherever else. He's all over the place, okay? He's starting to travel the world too. He went to Australia recently and had a get together in Sydney. So anyway, with his fan, his fans and whatnot, people that want to know more about narcissism and that kind of thing. So yeah, they just lie over stupid shit. And when you are no longer with them, so now you could see a lot more clearly, you realize that don't make any freaking sense. And you start looking for proof. You're not going to find any because they're lying. And when you talk to their friends and family, they'll be like, "Oh yeah." You ask, "Well, were you there when he graduated college? Graduated from what college? He ain't never went to college." Exactly. Exactly. Some people know. Some people they feel real comfortable lying to, and other people know the truth. So you need to talk to people who know the truth, or start looking for evidence. Start doing some research, and I guarantee you that if you're with a narcissist or were with a narcissist, everything they've told you or the majority of what they told you is a big fat lie. All right? You guys take care. Much love.